long time ago, but it has become a concern only since the 1900s. During the last century, we started noticing the climatic changes and its effect on human life. We started researching and found out that the Earth's temperature is rising due to a phenomenon called the greenhouse effect. Warm greetings to everyone present here. Today, we're here to discuss about a very serious issue, that is environment and climate change. How the changing climatic conditions affects our environment. With me, Pompal Gadi as your moderator, and four really fantastic panelists, Charumoli, Chimiwambu, Biriyai, and Rensika. And now we'll move from our very own environment into this vast topic of climate change. But I would like you to first explain how the environment and climate change are connected.
Well, you see, environment is the life support system for us as well as zillions of other living organisms. We depend on clean air, water, and a stable climate. Yes, a stable climate, because without it, we won't have an ideal environment for flora and fauna to dwell in. And it also indirectly affects the economy. In fact, climate change is already having serious impacts on the environment. For example, some areas will see more water, while some areas won't see enough. Moreover, due to the increase in temperature, many species are on the move. Some butterflies, foxes, alpine plants have migrated to further north or to higher cooler grounds, and many species that were once frequently seen are now endangered or extinct. Nevertheless, the rise in temperature has caused massive damage in the polar regions, with the melting of ice submerging some countries, which affects the life of people.
You're right. I do read about them in the news and internet. And recently it was reported that in Montana's Glacier National Park, the number of glaciers has gradually declined to fewer than 30 from more than 150 in 1910. And now that you've explained explained the connection between climate change and environment in quite simple and comprehensible words, the question is, what exactly is climate change? Because I've seen people thinking global warming and climate change as synonyms. But scientists prefer to use the term climate change when describing the complex shifts in the Earth's weather and climate systems. Could you please explain it in depth?
Of course, so as you have said, global warming and climate change are two maybe not so different things, but they aren't exactly the same either. To say in simpler words, global warming is the long-term heating of the Earth's climate system observed since the pre-industrial period due to human activities, primarily fossil fuel burning, which increases the heat-trapping greenhouse gas levels in the Earth's atmosphere. The term is frequently used interchangeably with the term climate change, though the latter refers to both human and naturally produced warming and the effects it has on our planet. And just as you say, climate change is a long-term change in average weather patterns that have come to define the Earth's local, regional, and global climates.
And natural resources alone cannot explain all of these changes. Human activities are contributing primarily by releasing billions of tons of carbon dioxide and other heat-trapping gases, also known as greenhouse gases, into the atmosphere every year.
So, according to the given points, we can say that heat is one of the biggest problems in climate change, right? So now that brings us to how these changes affect the flora and fauna, seeing that many species are migrating on a large scale, and many more are gone extinct by now.
Yeah, climate change does have an environmental influence on ecosystem. Now, most of the plants and animals are living in very specific climatic conditions, such as temperature and rainfall, which enables them to thrive. Any change in climate of an area can affect the life of plants and animals, and as well as the makeup of the entire ecosystem. For instance, some plants and animals are already moving to higher locations to live in suitable places. Many North American plants and animals are moving to higher elevations. Climate change of an area can alter the life cycles of plants and animals. Many plants are starting to grow earlier and bloom earlier and survive longer into the fall. And animals are waking from hibernations and migrating at different times too.
Also, as the earth gets warmer, Plants and animals that used to live in cold places like on mountain tops or in Arctic might not have a suitable place to live in. And if the earth keeps getting warmer, up to one-fourth of all the plants and animals on earth could extinct within 100 years. Every plant and animals play a role in the ecosystem, from being a source of food to a source of shelter, a predator, a pollinator. So losing one species may affect many others.
So we can conclude that the climate change is affecting the environment by ruining natural habitats, destroying the food chain, and this. But then what about one of the most important creatures on the earth? That is us, Homo sapiens. Because the changing climatic conditions is undoubtedly going to affect us humans severely, either directly or indirectly, maybe through economy, food, or environmental degradation. Could you please explain it in depth?
So, a growing body of research explores the many impacts of climate change on human health, food supply, economic growth, migration, security, and public goods, such as drinking water. And the consequences of this change can either hurt or help human population. For example, the climatic change in Siberia is expected to improve food productivity and economic activity in short or medium term.
You see, however, Bangladesh has experienced an increase in climate-sensitive diseases such as malaria, dengue, childhood diarrhea, and pneumonia among vulnerable communities. Also, numerous studies suggest that the net current of climate change on human society are and will continue to be overwhelmingly negative, like this one report on the global human impact of climate change published by the Global Humanitarian Forum in 2009 estimated more than 300,000 deaths and about $125 billion in economic losses each year.
You're right. We're already seeing the economic impact of changing climate. Could you please highlight a little more about it?
Yes, gladly. I don't know if you read about it or not, but a recent study examined that how climate change affects 22 different sectors of the economy in two different scenarios. If the global temperature rose by 2.8 degrees Celsius from pre-industrial levels by 2100 and increased to 4.5 degrees Celsius, the study projected that if the higher temperature prevails, the climatic change impacts on these 22 sectors of the economy could cost the US $520 billion, and if we can keep it to 2.8 degrees Celsius, it can cost $224 billion less. In any case, the US stands for highest economic suffers due to climate change, and second only to India.
That is quite scary and interesting at the same time. And though it was really an amazing experience to be here discussing about the future and whatever it holds for us, it has come to an end. And I would really like to thank you all for enlightening us a little more about this.